an American pickle, more like a stupid pickle, am I right? 'Cause America bad? No, like, for real though, it's a stupid pickle because this film isn't all that. In fact, it absolutely has no relation whatsoever to the hit Nickelodeon show. To put it simply, this should have been a 15-minute short. The film would work so much better as a short film, as the comedy would be more punchy and the message wouldn't feel so clouded, and it would really just be best as a sort of montage. This film really struggles to be 90 minutes, which isn't surprising when you find out that this is based on a short story. Seth Rogen was fine, his performances are quite vanilla. It's nice to see him play someone that isn't just funny weed man, but both characters aren't really that interesting, so you never feel any emotional impact for them. Also, because Seth Rogen plays both protagonists, the cinematography is so cookie cutter and run of the mill. It's literally just mostly shot, reverse shot, and it is not creative in the slightest. And what's quite disconcerting is that this is directed by a cinematographer turned director, so surely he must have come up with a good way to shoot this. But then you look at his filmography and it becomes quite obvious as to why this looks like a cheap TV show. Overall, the film has a very bleak look. However, I did like the look of the scene set in 1919, as they had a cool radial blur vignette which gave it an old-timey feel. I was expecting this to be a sort of fish out of water film, and I'm quite disappointed it didn't lean into that element more, as it would make sense for the characters, but I also like that it didn't do that, as that has been done a million times and there's nothing new that you can do with it. Furthermore, you could nitpick the hell out of this film if you wanted to. It really felt like everyone making this just didn't care about the final product, because all it does is plod along to be feature length just to tell us, wow, oh my god, people get so easily offended nowadays, jeez. It's essentially that, but done quite poorly. If you're in America, this went straight to HBO Max, which is good because this is the epitome of a shitty straight to streaming film to put on in the background, but I saw this in a cinema and had a very underwhelming experience. This is supposed to be a comedy, apparently, but I laughed at most twice. 50 minutes later and I've already forgotten. Okay, you know what? I was prepared to shit on this film because it's a Blumhouse film, and we all know that Blumhouse is terrible. But this was actually better than I was expecting. I went into it blind, so it's not really like I had any expectations. But yeah, this was better than I was expecting. It's still pretty average, because I think that this could have been a lot better, because it's a good concept, but it doesn't necessarily have the best execution. The main reason as to why is because, just like An American Pickle, I think this should have been a short film, because although everything is resolved by the end and is quite nice and nuanced, it didn't really feel satisfying. It felt quite anticlimactic, and I think that would have been better if it was, you know, in a short form. I'm not gonna lie, this did also scare me more than I was expecting. I wasn't scared, but it definitely did frighten me a tad, although I was the only one in my screening, so I think just the fact that I was alone in a big, empty, pitch black room was also quite discomforting, so I think there was an element of that. But yeah, the main reason why the scares don't really work super well in this film is because it's just, like, throughout the entire film, just super loud, foreboding music plays, and it's just like, okay, that doesn't make the situation scary. Just because you're playing the scary music doesn't mean I should be scared now. There were a lot of jump scares which didn't get me because it was so obvious that they were gonna happen. Yes, there were some nice moments, and although the cinematography wasn't anything unique, mostly because the entire film was just completely dark and you can't really see anything, which also may be another element of, okay, we don't know how to make this film scary, so let's just make it really dark, which, I mean, I guess kind of adds to the atmosphere, but I want to be able to see stuff, otherwise I won't pay attention. But there are some cool shots, like there are some visuals in this film that are really quite interesting, and it really did feel like this was a storyboard brought to life, and there was definitely some heart behind this film. I could feel it while watching it, and the main performance is pretty good. But it just is, I wouldn't say boring, because it definitely isn't. This, I know it's below 90 minutes, but it felt quick. I just think it should have been even quicker, you know, like especially with the fact that it doesn't have the conventional 3-act structure, which honestly is a good thing because not every film needs to be structured that way, but that definitely gives more reason to the fact that this shouldn't have been feature length. But you know, Jason Blum got his hands on it and was like, okay, I'm gonna give you $10 million and just make whatever the fuck you want, because he just throws money at everything. But yeah, it was better than I was expecting. It could have been a lot better. It could have been really, really good, but it just ended up being quite mediocre. But I'm gonna keep my eye on this writer and director because his career could be quite promising. I saw this 5 days ago at the time of recording, and I have almost completely forgotten it. In fact, I forgot about it pretty much within an hour after seeing it, which is why I wrote this haha funny letterboxd review. This film is not remotely interesting or special. It's a film that feels like it's from the 80s and some college kids changed it to make it appropriate for today, and that just made it worse. I am so sick and tired of these "we live in a society" movies. I get it. Stop shoving this dumb message down my throat. This film was so unintentionally funny throughout most of its runtime due to being so illogical. So if you want to watch a film that desperately tries to be feature length with wince-worthy dialogue, some brutal kills, way too much driving, and a weird amount of car crashes, then this is for you, but I would not pay any money for this. This could be a very fun film to watch with a friend once it comes to streaming, but other than that, this has absolutely nothing going for it. Lockdown first happened, I was like, oh, this is great. When cinemas finally do reopen, it will give a chance for smaller independent films to shine. But no, instead we just get the shit that studios pushed to the side and left out to die, which is a shame. Horizon Zero Dawn is super cool though.